Hello everyone, this is Rattue 498 and this is a 2v2 battle on the Galacian Ria map. I'm playing as Great Britain. My teammate from Huntsman, Roos, is playing as Russia. Our two opponents, the first one is playing with Russia, and his second opponent is also playing as Russia. So the rules of this game were no fixed art, max 5 lights, max 1 artillery, and no unicorns. So as you can see, I'm going to try and rush and take the hill. If you have a quick look at the minimap now, you'll see both of my opponents are coming across to try and group up on that hill. And if you're still looking at the minimap, then you'll see that Roos has actually deployed quite a long way away from me, so it's going to take him a little while to get here. So my opponent brought 1 horse artillery. I've got 1 horse artillery as well, hidden at the back just in case we get some house campers at the end. So I'm going to rush up, and I'm going to start getting some shots off, and I'm going to start getting some shots off at his cav, which he's left in front, and he's going to pull them back as soon as he notices. So his lights are now firing back at mine. As you can see, the other opponent is now coming across, and he'll be here pretty shortly as well. So I want to try and get this done pretty quickly. I only brought 2 cav units, so I'm going to waste 1 away straight away, just get myself further up the hill, because at the moment I'm not going to get any decent shots at him. So my first cav unit goes in. They take some heavy losses, but they get hit. As I do that, he countercharges with 1 of his cav units to hold me up. He gets a little hit on my lights, form a square, and they're going to rout away pretty quickly. I believe they're just Cossack cav, which have a morale of about 4. So it won't take long for them to rout away. So as you can see now, if you're looking flat, I can actually shoot them now. So my lights are now going to start firing, and they're going to get some decent shots off. And through the forest comes the other opponent, and he's going to send all his lights onto my flank. So I've got a couple of units in the forest at the top of the map. I've got a couple of units down here who are ready to flank the other opponent coming down, to buy myself a little time before Roos turns up. He sends a cav charge into the forest to hold me up, to stop me being able to get around his flank. I think it's another Cossack cav unit. Very cheap cav. Something very strange. This guy's got his lights behind his lines. Any normal circumstances, he'd be shooting the hell out of his own lines. For some reason he's not. May just be because of the hill. I'm not sure whether he's slightly above or not. I couldn't tell you, but he's not actually shooting his own lines here. So if you have a look when he was firing, then there was none of his own men falling down. So here's the other opponent's lights now coming onto my flank. And Roos has now eventually turned up with a couple of cav units who are going to come through and disturb those lights that have just shown up shooting me from the flank. I'm just still shooting basically, but now I'm shooting his lines. Really, his lights are behind his lines, so his lights are protected. But the fact that he's done that, I mean, as I say, he's not shooting his own men, but because he's done that, he's caused himself a problem. Because after I've killed them off, there's not going to be anything there to protect his lights. And I'm holding a cav unit in reserve. So as soon as his line get destroyed, I'm going to be able to charge my cav unit through, and they're going to be quite open to destroy quite a few of his men. Down at the bottom of the screen, there's a lifeguard unit from the Russians going melee on my Highland foot. He does this really well actually. He charges them in, gives them a second to get their charge bonus, which I believe is some silly like 30 something or 40 something, and then he's going to run them straight back out again, as these British Highland foot are actually pretty good in defensive melee. So I've started going around in this flank now. I've got I think, two foot guard units, and I've got the Connaught Rangers and the Black Watch as well, I believe. So a little walk through the forest, and we're into Roos's cav charge. No, he's attacking the lights. I believe he's a Galacian unit. So they're getting shot a little bit by the line, but he's doing his job. He's holding them up, stopping them from shooting me. So as you can see now, as you look down the line, lots of dead Russian corpses on the floor, which is a good sign for me. And now his lights are going to be free to shoot at me now. But as I say, they're not going to have really any protection behind them. So I'm going to be able to send a cav charge through. So I've got round his flank. I'm in the forest and I've got round his flank, which is very, very good for me. As soon as I can get in that forest, I would like to. And here, as you can see, the cav charge goes in. He's got no lines directly behind. There are some lines at the bottom of the hill. There you see, but there's no lines directly behind where I charged. So I managed to get a hit on his light infantry there. I've still got some lights from the other opponents shooting me. They really, really wanted to try and take this hill. So did I. Really, this hill's really, really important in this map. Whoever gets it gets a huge advantage. It's a big hill forest each side and there's a house at the bottom as well. So if you can get hold of this hill, there's a very good chance you're going to win the game. If you're hosting this game, then you've got to do it. You've got a long walk till you get there. Otherwise, it's right in front of you, if you're on Alliance 2. So the crew there has just managed to wrap around his opponent, and he's now holding him up perfectly for me. I'm now rushing up the hill to the top. Got my lights in front, my lines close behind my lights. And I've got better quality units, so I'm basically now just going to shoot out as best I can. And I should be doing quite a bit of damage to this guy now. So he had his horse out outside of the forest. He's shooting at my line through the forest. He's not going to do much damage through that, and don't try not to shoot at units in forest with artillery, because they're not going to be that effective. Because Roos's opponent has sent his men up to me, they've had to come down at an angle, which means most of his lights are now free to do what they want to his line, to his opponent's line. I got my lead there, but I think it's a musketeer unit come charging down the hill. These Russians really do have a great melee charge, so try and avoid it as best as possible. Got some lines shooting at him now though. I sent my 2 foot guard units into the forest just at the bottom of the screen there, just try and take that flank. Roos is there as well with a lot of his men, but I thought I'd lend down and go in melee there. So as you can see now, basically I've pretty much destroyed all the forces on this hill. There's very little left there to fight. So looking in here, as you can see, you're going to see these are my foot guard unit in here now, scrapping around with a couple of musketeer units, which they'll win that fight pretty comfortably.
Our men are running, sir.
So just going to continue up on the right hand side and wrap myself round. We form in my lines on the left to line up with Roos's lines, and as you see now looking down the line, we've got a huge advantage now in numbers. My guy decides to get out of the forest, seeing what's going to happen to him, so they decide to try and pull back off the hill. But this is all a little late for them now. There's not really much they're going to be able to do. Roos's opponent's lights are turned facing him and shooting at him. Roos's general, I believe, is in there having a scrap with the lights. Oops, sorry about that. Having a scrap with the lights. And just basically an all-out melee charge for this forest. There's really not much point shooting it out in a forest. A lot of your bullets are going to hit these almighty 20-foot wide trees that seem to be in there. So there's very little chance of having a decent shootout in the forest. So you're better off, especially if you're Russia, just going in for melee. So going to rush to the top of the hill now. My opponent sends a cav charge into me. Form a square on one. Looks like I failed to form a square on the second one. Shouldn't be too much of a problem. Now his art's at the bottom of the hill and he's going to keep shooting up at the square that I've just formed. He's going to do quite a bit of damage to me. He is. So this is, I believe, is quite a good unit. And he's going to be doing quite a bit of damage to it. You're going to see the front rank drop in a second. After the cannon fires. Cannon's fired, there they all go. That front rank inside drops. So artillery's kind of underestimated in a lot of situations. I mean, if you can get a unit to form a square, you can blast it at hell pretty easily. So now we're just going to literally move up and just shoot the hell out of them, and that'll be the end of this. So my guy's going in melee now with me, with his last remaining units. Roos has sent a cav charge round behind my opponent.
Our men are running, sir.
And he's going to do some damage. I believe he's going to go for the art first, is he? Oh, the art's buggered off and they've got him for melee as well. But that was a good game, it's really enjoyable. I'd like to thank everyone who played for playing. I'd like to thank Roos for playing with me. We just started doing 2v2s again. Roos used to be called The Crew. Anyone who's been subscribed to me for a while will remember The Crew. So I hope everyone enjoyed the video. If you could all rate, comment and subscribe, that'd be great. Give us a thumbs up. It's my horse art. Didn't use it in the end. I basically just bring that to stop the house campers, because right now if there was like 2 or 3 units of old guard sat in a house or something like that, then you can just sit back and blast it. But thank you everyone, and if you could check out the other channels list as well on my page and sub to all of them, that would be great. Thank you very much. Goodbye everyone.